My name is Darius Wright. And as a child growing up, you could say I was always aware of the nature of reality, of where we came from, our true state, our home. I remember remembering the other side and actually stating to myself, this is my last time here. And that's something that was always present for me as a child and also in my upbringing as well. You could say I was raised in a non-traditional way. All of my abilities were constantly being fostered. They weren't being told to be shut down. This was as basic as looking at certain things, reading energy, and even having out-of-body experiences as a child, but unaware that that's what was happening because due to a lot of fear that I had. And so it all started when I turned 16, really. At 16 years old, I was taken out of this construct for the first time, or what people say, replace the word construct with the universe. So people understand the universe as scientific terms as the known universe. And I just call it a construct because that's what it's called on the other side. And that's what I was taken out of to see it, you could say, from God's point of view, and showing how the first thoughts, showing who we are, what this place is. And it took me a long time to begin to understand all this information because it's like having one near-death experience. You have all of this experience and all the stuff that has happened. You can't really formate it into words. And at 16, that's what happened. I could only tell you feelings, sensations. It felt like this or it was like this. And through the countless years now of doing this, like every single week, I would say, and sometimes every single day of accessing things, going back to the other side, I was able to understand more what this place is, the 12 heavens, the construct, and who we are, our souls in our true home. And you could say this is one of the most important missions for every soul. People have been away from home far too long, and they've forgotten their home, and this is why they fear. So a lot of people are in a lot of fear because they've forgotten their true state, where they come from, their divinity. They think that this is all there is and this is all there can be. And because they're in a state where they believe that the universe dictates consciousness. And the universe does not dictate consciousness. Your consciousness dictates the universe because you are an infinite being. You live on forever. And your soul is the dictator of all things. And this is where you go into the spoken word, who you are, the will of the soul, creation itself. And so that is the beginning to where I'm at now in the pursuit to doing the mission of waking people up to the other side. An out-of-body state is no different from a near-death experience. Now, there could be a lot of confusion in here because your heart is not necessarily a pump in the way that they would want you to believe it to be, but it's actually an electromagnetic generator that holds an electromagnetic field all around you. And this electromagnetic field, the stronger that it is, the more that it glues your soul into the body. When you die, near-death experience, this magnetic field, the heart, lowers. So you leave. You have a near-death experience. With a controlled out-of-body state, you're doing the same thing. You're lowering the heart rate to a degree where the field is lower so you can leave the body. Now, sleep paralysis is the gateway to the other side, you could say. It's the gateway to do it controlled. It's the process of doing this controlled as well. So when you're in a state of sleep paralysis, this is when your brainwave is in a delta state. And also your heart rate is extremely low because you're lowering the electromagnetic field of the body. And if one were to stay calm in that state and not go through panic, anxiety, fear, which the brainwave increases and therefore the electromagnetic field, the heart increases too, heart rate, you end up waking yourself back up. And when you're in this state, a controlled state, and you allow yourself to go deeper, in essence, what you're doing is you're lowering this even further and further and further to where you come right out of your body. That's what sleep paralysis is. And that's what has been happening to me for years now. Like I said, since a child, it was learning how to get control over this state, which was something that I've taught myself how to do, get control over it and leave my body at will. And once you are outside of the body, the moment when you leave the body, your soul holds physicality. Your soul is physical. It's not an airy-fairy experience. It's actually more real and more physical than what we live right here, right now. Because We all have a limited access to the light spectrum our physical brain could decode, which is like 1% of the light spectrum. So when you leave the body, your soul is accessing more of that light, more of the all of the light spectrum. So it is more real than what you could ever experience here. So much so when you leave, you look at your soul and you start rubbing your hands and you're like, wow, this is the true state. This is my divinity, because that is your true home. That is your true body that is never corrupted or can never die. And when you look back at your body on the bed, there's an instant, like it's instant, that you realize, okay, that's not me, that's the vehicle that I'm using. And so people that believe that this is a hallucination or dream, I want to state this. I spent, I would say, about 3 years trying to disprove myself that this isn't real. And this is why I started to do experiments to show and prove to myself, is this actually hallucination? And this is where I started targeting things. I started seeing people do things in real time, like seeing friends do things that I could never know unless I was physically there. Impossible for me to know, even to the exact things that they said, TV shows that they were watching. I've had a lot of people share that as well. A woman called Kelly was viewing her son in the military and seeing where her son was, what he was doing, accessing his thoughts, like his field. And after that experience as well, coming back to him and calling him from coming out of that experience, to see that everything that she saw was 100% accurate. So the moment when you leave the body, what you're going to notice is that you're accessing real-time events happening here. But not only that, you're accessing the whole field of that individual in your field as well. And this is, you could say, potential time events, thought forms, because what you think is still in the field of your energetic field, your electromagnetic field that's through the heart. All that's still present. And you could view all of those things. All those things are present. And you could accurately target things in real time to basically prove to yourself that what you're seeing is real. You could write something on a whiteboard, 1 to 9, or a word or a number, whatever it is. And you could come out of your body, accurately see that, and then come back, call the person who's done it, and then you could see that everything that you're seeing is accurate. Like I said, I've done this for myself 5 days straight in a row, and I've done it in a group setting, and it's been very, very accurate, because you're accessing what's actually here. You're seeing the truth. And this is in every near-death experience account too. They will attest to this. When they die, whether if it's in a hospital bed, when they come out of their body, they're viewing the whole scene of their death. They're viewing everything. They could see their loved ones. They could see the operating table. And as I stated in the beginning, the out-of-body state is no different, because you're doing the same process. You are observing all of that as well, wherever you are. And you can access a lot more too. So it's not a hallucination of the mind. These are things that science or powers that be would want people to believe, because they want to disconnect you from your true state. Because once you realize that your soul, who you actually are, your true essence of who you are, it changes your whole life forever. It changes every single soul. Every single near-death experience person has always been changed from that experience. They never return back to that docile state, because they know. There's a difference between believing. A lot of people listening to this, they may believe what I'm saying. They have a belief in it. And until they experience it themselves, it becomes an absolute knowing. You realize that the things that you do here do matter. The regrettable is the unforgettable on the other side. That unconditional love matters. Love matters. Sharing that here, because once you leave here, you are the only person that you can never escape. And the things that you do outside of love are the sins that you will carry on the other side. The unforgivable sin is a sin that you can't forgive yourself for. And so when people realize this, and people realize this en masse, this quite literally will change this entire realm forever, for the betterment. Because right now, the only reason why this place is the way it is because a vast number of souls have forgotten their home and their true state.